Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another mod stream. And we are here to get some work on Deliverance. I just want to quickly dive into some code that Vic wrote. He said that he was able to do something related to upgrades and stuff too, I think. Key structure. Now the main problem with the upgrade blocks is that obviously upgrade queue does not work for extended upgrades. But maybe we can fix that on Aze's side instead of having to develop a new function for extended upgrades. I'll have to chat with Iquare about that at some point. But yeah. I guess he added some nesting and stuff, so. But he needs to add array support before it's finalized. So that's kind of cool. The other issue, though, is that since queues don't create requests with something that can be as long as upgrades. Oh, I guess we don't actually need extended upgrade support for Hydra, but for something else, for another project, that would be a problem. With regards to queuing upgrades, you are stuck in a shitty position where you basically have to refresh the queue for the first upgrade every time that you would be issuing the order. So, because it's not possible to tell if the upgrade has been like interrupted by power going down for a forge or the structures being destroyed. It's many edge cases there. So I don't know. We'll have to figure that out as time goes on. I guess we can just, instead of having upgrade queue, we can just use upgrade. Although this could be entirely flawed logic on my part if the way that upgrades actually work is related to, like, if they're perpetually checking for upgrades until they have the upgrade that's in there. Like, if every so many frames or whatever, they're like every 24 frames, they're checking, hey, do I have this upgrade? Or is this upgrade in progress? And if they don't, well, it would have to be like, the check for do I have this upgrade would have to be running until they have this upgrade. And then inside that check would have to be, is this upgrade in progress? So the actual code on an abstract level would be like, if has upgrade, and then it would have to be like, if is getting upgrade, and then if tech rec get upgrade. Right? It would have to be something like this on an abstract level, where you're checking first if you have the upgrade, and this would run in perpetuity until it had the upgrade, right? So, I don't know. So this would be like func upgrade queue. So this would have to be what it would actually be like, but obviously not particularly good. I'm not sure if it is like this already. I mean, I guess I could actually just open up the file that does run this. I guess it would be an idle tactics. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it doesn't look like it has any abstract or complicated checks. There's like some sanity stuff related to the, like assigning the arguments of the function or the parameters or whatever to arguments as a function. So there's that, but it doesn't look like there's anything particularly complicated here, unfortunately. Or anything robust, I guess would be a better term here. Like it's not safe, for lack of a better term. So anyway. Okay, I'm done messing around with that. Let's get working on the map. So, my main aspiration going into this is to finalize the layout. There's some connective tissue that needs to be taken care of, specifically from the bottom right to the top right, the whole top strip, as well as the mid left to the top left. So we're kind of going to be working around the temple in its current state, which I am fine with. We should probably be adding a considerable number of expansions as well. One concern that I do have is the absolute lack of natural expansion for Tauros, for the actual player, right? I mean, a Salamir will have something of a natural expansion on the high ground over here when I finish this area. It's fairly safe. It'll be a double gas, low mineral yield, and then he'll also be able to take this mineral only as his third if Deimos doesn't take it, right? But even then, it's like, I'm not really sure where he would progress. I guess this could be his natural. Deimos could take this as his natural, and this as his third. You know, I don't exactly know how it'll work out. But there's tons of expansions further inward. Like, that's one of the reasons why you want to control the middle. That makes sense. Going into the upper right over here, this could be construed as a natural for Tauros when I flesh it out, but it's unlikely to be close enough or defensible enough to really be a natural expansion. So what I'm thinking is there might actually be a small revision to this area that involves, like, maybe cutting, like, pushing this cliff a little bit further out, like so. And trying to accomplish something there. I think if we're able to do that, maybe I'll throw some minerals and gas over here. That could work, is what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's get started on the terraforming. Emphasis on the terror. Terror. Oops. How embarrassing. I'll be making a couple of blends for this. Which will be quite nice, I think. I don't know about that one. But maybe it'll work out fine. Oh. Alright, so it's a little bit of a mess, and it will definitely need some custom tiles here and there. Actually, I think it only needs one, or like 2 sets. I need one for this, and I need one for that. And I'm pretty sure that's it as far as the custom tiles go. Cool. So now we can more or less finalize the arrangement of these resources. And then I'll be able to eventually add more like cover around here with regards to it being stacked dirt cliff. No need for any ramps or anything. It'll just be like a ledge. All right. So with that sort of taken care of in terms of the element of it, we should be able to make a more typical base over here. That's like, I don't know, about 10, but it'll be at least 8 mineral fields. That seems like a comfortable number. And that's like a particularly random place to place the geyser. I'll probably build around that. It's always an interesting balance for me about like whether or not I find myself building around the resources or building the resources around the terrain. I guess it's chicken and the egg, like which one came first? But it actually depends on which one came first. Like, did I design the terrain first or was it something else? And I think that actually has a surprising amount to do with it. One thing that could be done here as well is actually completely separate these two. That could be neat. Like, imagine, like if I decided to seal this cliff off so that you couldn't, move between these two bases particularly freely, you had to take the low ground path. Or maybe I make the high ground path much narrower or something. I feel like that could be interesting. Worth a shot. Just talking shop about AI stuff. I actually think that will work, but I want to make sure that I'm not rubbing up so closely to the edge there, if I can help it. I think I like that a lot. All right, cool. It's really nice to have a complete suite of tiles like that so that I can pretty much just do whatever I want when it comes to the blending. Helps it feel real, I think. And not just like constructed, like bare minimum tiles that you would expect or need for your particular job or whatever. So, in that sense, I'm quite happy. YouTube decided to unlist my stream, SMH. Man, I'm gonna need to fix so many tiles. Question is, does this feel natural? And the problem is... Okay. That's something. It's too bad, like, you know how when you paint a location, it creates an entry in this bar down here that you can then sift through. You click to center. It'd be really nice if there's some sort of feature like that for res areas. In fact, that's an idea that's so good, I'm gonna yell at SI to implement it. But I'll hold my breath. I mean, I won't hold my breath. Fuck. So anyway, we've managed to do some work there. So I'll say draft bottom right, fix P1, something like that. So yeah, now we have a lot more of an understanding of like the map flow from the bottom right-hand side and how it's going to pertain to the middle. But we can't really extrapolate too much about the mid-right area over here because we don't have anything there. So this is where I should probably decide what I actually want visually or thematically for this area. Do I want it to be a continuation of the temple? Do I want it to fade out from the temple such that, like, even though we have this large temple complex, this is all we have, generally speaking, is this giant temple complex, and then there's, like, a couple of things on the outskirts, like you see over here. Oh, I should add this to the location listing. Yeah, I think stuff like that would definitely end up being... like, determining that is going to be pretty important. So I might even make it so that this upper left area is more temple, so that, you know, there's even Zerg infestation inside the temple as well as Terran infestation. So if that's the case, then there's going to be a precedent set that this temple thing stretches out pretty wide. So I actually think that we could have some sort of very massive temple area over here. And figure out exactly what we want to do with it. So I think something like... I did actually create temple blending with Dirt Cliff a while ago for Stormborn. I don't think I have the tiles necessary to connect these two, so I would definitely have to do some more, but that is not out of the question. So I think that this like little courtyard area that we have going on here should probably exit out into some other regions. Like, obviously this part of it leads to the other Terrans. This part of it leads to the other Zerg, Gorn. This part of it leads sort of in the direction of Arak, and this part of it should probably lead to some sort of connective tissue between the middle and this. So like this path, the bottom right and the bottom left paths, should kind of naturally push you in the direction of the middle, just like if you're going the other way, if you're coming from the middle, it should sort of naturally lead you to this Terran's base, which I think is a fine mechanism for sort of creating this natural sense that there's something going on here. This definitely mandates, like, this kind of approach with, like, a ruins-focused approach is going to mandate creating unbuildable ruins at some point that really do feel unbuildable. So I don't know if that'll just be a center tile that we can paint somewhat freely, sort of like as if it were an unbuildable doodad or something. But we would basically take the center tiles of ruins and just make them all cracked and rocky and treacherous looking, so you can walk on them but you can't build on them. Something like that could probably be fun. And then I could take the doodads and blend them with that if I wanted to, like give them the same treatment. Because right now the ruins doodads are fine, generally speaking. So I think we can also do like versions of ruins that are blended with mud, in addition to the ones that I already have that are blended with dirt. So that could be useful. The problem is, like the broken one or whatever, the broken ruins. I think those would be best suited for like roads and also destruction. In a perfect world, we would have a different one that was just for roads, but I don't know if we can create one that would also serve the purpose. And then the roads themselves I would want them to be unbuildable in a sense, because the idea is that you're meant to, like, that's not the purpose of them. So I would actually have, I think a large portion of the middle of the map will probably end up being unbuildable. Maybe not the majority, but a significant minority. I also guess I should start on this. I don't actually have the, oh yeah, that's right, I don't have the non-jungle versions of that, so never mind, I'll do that later. Alright, so since I've done some musing on the temple stuff, it's funny how I think this map, more than any of the other maps thus far, is definitely going to generate, like, mandate the most custom art, just from what I was saying earlier. But I'm trying to think of, like, how I would go about making that connective tissue that guides you over here. One, two, three, four. Alright, so it looks like we got a little bit of a clue for how we might do this. This does make this somewhat lopsided, but... I think it'll be alright. So this obviously creates a bit of a lopsided thing where it's like it's not symmetrical, but I think it still works because of the fact that there's going to be these like scaffolding aspects over here. I'm going to do the same thing. And we're just going to go... Oh, so this is off center. Or is it? It shouldn't be. The fuck? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, wow. I had no idea. Oh, that's fine, I guess. Do it that way. So you basically have like a pretty strong setup here as far as that goes. I am a little bit concerned that the north facing ramp is going to cut in a little too much over there, but we'll see what we do. Oh, it actually does not. I mean, it's a very tight thing there, so. And this is already a little tight anyway, so. I'm half of mind to just grab this whole thing. Wipe out some of this, wipe out some of this. And then so with this approach, if I were to do that, this naturally leads towards the ramp over here. But I could also do something like this, where it will naturally lead towards the opening, which I think is actually better. So I wanted to make it something like, well, basically, I should have wiped these out too earlier, but no. I didn't. So that's the end of that. The fuck? Okay. I think we figured it out. So now the only problem is that the this is not in sync. This is off by, looks like 2, or maybe just 1. So if I were to do another shape shifting. Yeah. All right, so that just means that we need to bring everything in by 1. So let's grab this real quick. You know, this is pretty much the best way to make terrain. Okay. Well, there we go. Oh, what's UED got going on? Yeah, see if it is the tiles. Is UED even working on a campaign, Crab? He said that he forgot it was even happening, so... I'll go ahead and assume he's not working on it. Man, so you know what the main problem is right now is that I'm super interested. Like I'm really wanting to make this line up with this. But another idea just struck me, which is potentially copying and pasting this whole layout and using it, but like having it be over here. So like matching up with this. So basically taking this piece and flipping it and matching it up over here. 10 tiles away, and then like syncing that up. Like I feel like that could work out. That could be like another courtyard, and maybe that would be the natural for this player because he doesn't currently have one, and I wouldn't want him to like move backwards. Thematically, this guy's supposed to be the front line. He's supposed to be the one who like aggresses into enemy territory. That's why he's literally starting inside a temple complex. So it's like there's a whole lot of thematics at play, and his personality is going to be very aggressive and very like providing cover for his ally to bulk up and destroy everybody. So he's like the first line of offense, if you will. And I want to personify that by having him move deeper into enemy territory. This is like reinforcing the thematics, reinforcing his personality, and obviously being consistent with the gameplay intention that I have. So when like a system like that, I think would work out really well. So without further ado, okay. So we have our thing. What would it even be doing? And would it be going like this? I think it would be going... Yeah, I think this is how it would be. Because we're grabbing... Yeah, okay. And then this, on the other hand, starts here. Right, so it would be, that would be this piece. So we have... Why is it so complicated? So how many tiles are in between these anyway? Wait. Oh, wow, that actually is the same distance, apparently. Okay. I remember hearing about this. I think it was yesterday or another day, maybe. I don't remember. But it was definitely goofy. It sounded goofy. So you won't actually see the other side of this. I'm actually not sure. Should I even have flipped it? Maybe that's what's happened here. Is that I'm not even sure if that's the right move. Like, did I somehow invert this from what it was supposed to be? I don't think so, because this piece and this piece are identical. Yeah, I think that's actually correct. It's just really weird. But hey, this gives me much more connective tissue than before, and I can do something interesting with this approach. I might still be able to sync this stuff up, actually, if I decide to, like, connect this or whatever. Wait, what? Oh, no. Wait. No! I fucked it up somehow. Oh, they're 9 apart now instead of 10. God damn it. Well, I mean, I guess that's not really that big of a deal, because all I need to do then is just extend this down if I wanted to keep it. I guess that fixes it. Because the thing is, I don't actually want the gap to be that wide if I can help it. I might also decide to like bring this ramp in line with this ramp, because right now it's not. Whereas it would be if I just moved it over one. They place guards on bridge and their attack forces spin behind. Yeah, well, you know, that sounds like AI to me. So we have until the 3rd of October, or wait, what? No, it's the 3rd of November. So from this point onward, we still have an entire month, and then most of another month. So I don't know how much time that is, but if we go. If we do November. Oh, this is November 3, 2020. All right, we have 57 days left. There you go. Meanwhile, I am on my 309th mod or 310th mod stream, I think, technically. So that's pretty epic. Anyway, I was in the middle of trying to do that. Hmm. Hey. So we have something now. Now we've got something that looks like a courtyard. Pretty epic. Okay, cool. That actually is pretty good. The one drawback or whatever is that, I mean, there's going to be a tiny bit of mobility over here that I'm going to have to square these off at some point so that they're not there, because this is too epic to give up. So Beautiful. Gorgeous. Leaving behind a few pieces here and there that are part of the road or the edge blend, because I don't actually think that they don't actually have blending issues with the main tiles. And they're a nice piece of variety that we don't get otherwise. Just can't leave behind all of them because it becomes pretty obvious that there's some weird mirroring happening. Alright, so now I'll actually seal these off. At this point, home stretch for this area. Definitely feeling pretty good about how this stuff turned out. Huh. Not sure about that. Maybe it should have been placed more upwardly so that it's easier for them to defend. Because it's definitely going to be super easy to harass that area if if the Terran player doesn't have control over this region or whatever. Maybe that's fine, but that's one of those things I'm a little concerned about, so I'll keep my eyes on that one for now. I'm really happy with how the bottom right area just turned out, and I'm also pretty happy with how the temple courtyard area turned out. I feel like it's pretty cool. If I wanted to go super crazy, I could seal this up with additional temple and then have like ramps in between it or something. That might honestly be epic. Hold the phone. Now I've got an idea. Again, this may end horribly. But it might also be epic, so gotta take some risks now and again. Problem here is that this is lopsided. So like in reality it should be like that if I'm gonna do it. I don't know, man. I think that's pretty epic. Just obviously needs a whole host of custom tiles. So, bye. Like, I feel like this could be a really big action point or whatever, like contact point. Yeah, I listen, man. The game is terrible. I can't say terrible. I honestly couldn't play. I couldn't play the first map, dude. The tutorial mission broke. The triggers busted because I killed something out of order. What's up, Don? Yeah, you can build on ruins and on temple rocks. We're gonna have unbuildable ruins later on. What a slow fucking site. Five Nations. Intelligence Center. By the way. I'm not really interested in playing anything that's gonna take me a long time right now. Good job. These portraits are so gross. Well, I wasn't available on Saturday because I had a huge list of things to do, and nobody said anything when I said something about it in Fraud Night and was waiting for a response. I don't think anybody replied. Yeah, nobody said anything, so I assumed people weren't available. I think I'll slightly reduce the complexity of this area. It's not necessary for all this to be here, I don't think. Ends up introducing more problems. It unfortunately gets rid of some of like the grounding elements of it, but not sure what can really be done about that. So while I think this resolves an issue with the actual game balance, it also fucks with the isometry, or like the alignment, the symmetry, where it's symmetrical here, but not here. Like it's not lined up. And in the current state, it's not lined up at all anyway, but... Alright, so let me redraft this area a little bit here. I don't feel like terraforming the whole area, so I'll just do this real quick. If I just slap this in real quick, of course it's off as image. Okay. Okay. So that's good enough for a quick test. I'm not sure if that's actually real though. Like, it looks like it might be. Well, what's there to even help with regards to Hydra, though? Like... I guess if we still have crashes or whatever. I haven't really exhaustively tested anything recently, so... Well, StarCraft 1 already does that with siege tanks. I don't think it's good, though. I think it should just be a behavior associated with the unit, but I don't actually know what that's just an assumption based off of, like... I don't actually know what on a code base level it might actually make more sense to transfer or slowly transition between, like, one unit and another or something. So... Yeah, I don't think it should just swap into another unit, you know? I think there's room for it to work in a lot of different contexts. Alright. When you could still use MPQ hot loading and stuff in the early days, people modded the game, but no, not anymore. I mean, not publicly available to my knowledge. Well, because there's a file extension called .sc2mod because Blizzard is deliberately obfuscating. I think it's just incompetence on their part, but it could be like they actually want people to think that that's modding. Deep psychological experiment. Alright. Where did those temple doodads run off to? I'm sure it's possible, but I've never messed around with it, so I don't know offhand. We'll get to it eventually. No sense worrying about it right now. Since we're not actually starting on it anytime soon. Well, I guess it is soon in theory, but you know what I mean. We've got bigger fish to fry. I should actually test the alignment of this. Like, yeah, looks like it. DK keeps playing Huncraft. Yeah, but we can iterate on all that stuff. So even if we like what we're going to try to iterate into is like obviously with some forward thinking aspect, we're going to try to iterate into uh a situation where we have as good pathfinding as Brood War and then try to improve it from there, I think. Maybe it'll be fundamentally different than Brood War. Amazing. I'm not sure exactly what it'll look like, but I think nav meshes are probably better, but like something more cell based, like what StarCraft 2's pathfinding is. It'll obviously be more expensive than regions, but it'll be more precise and prone to less edge cases. I think that one change would really make Brood War's pathfinding a lot more functional. It's just that you'd also have to have whatever like the unit AI, the individual. It's called AI, but really it's like the individual branch tree or whatever that tells the unit to move in a certain direction. We would need to make sure that the unit will only try to move out of the way of another unit if that unit is also not moving. Like, and obviously we would need to interpret like buildings and units that are stationary as objects to be moved around, similar to how terrain obstacles are. Yeah, but that's kind of something that we would do when we're actually working on the engine. Not something that I would try to do when I'm trying to build a campaign in 2 months. So I agree with the sentiment, but it's not something that is that I'm particularly enthused about diving into right now. Yeah, I also think that generally units should probably not be as uncontrollable as they are in Brood War. When like if 6 Zerglings unburrow underneath a Dragoon or something, and that Dragoon just starts spinning until it dies, instead of actually being able to be ordered around, that feels pretty stupid. So all right, we got that. We got that. We got that. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Added a little bit of that over there. Yeah. Yeah. Flocking and all that shit. Anything that automates is pretty bad. Like they take control away from you when they do that clumping system that they have. Whereas you might want to space your units out, or in that case, like really, what Brood War has is the best. Even though it's really fucked, it's still the best that I've seen anyway. Maybe Age of Empires or something has some better, but the idea that like units They stay in whatever formation they attempt to remain in whatever formation they were in initially, but then with repeated orders they will try to clump up in the area. So like you have some control. You can just click once and they'll try to stay in the formation they were. Or you, if you want them to collapse, you can issue repeat orders. That's way better than always having them, clump up, right? Infinitely superior in that respect. Oops. What an idiot. All right, managed to make some pretty good progress in the last 2 hours. I'm now going to take a quick break. When I come back, we'll be working on the top strip of the map. I'm not sure if I want to continue on the right-hand side and start building in the Terran base, or if I want to continue on the left-hand side and figure out where Arak's Natural will end up being and all that stuff. I do still think that Gorn's base will be templified, and this high dirt barrier and stuff like that border over there in the top right will remain a natural organic tile. but I think that we will have sort of like a temple, like artificial man-made or whatever, constructed area over here, which will be pretty cool. And that'll be where Gorn ends up starting. So I'm gonna have to try to synchronize that or build that from what we have over here. Particularly since this little exit from the frontline turrets is going to try to like push you towards that, or draw you in towards where that is, as well as like this entrance and stuff like that. So we'll probably take these two blocks and like use them as the basis for some sort of exploration, as well as a border for maybe a base over here. So in the interest of spelling that out for myself in the future, go ahead and place some resources over there to remind myself that that's a thing. And yeah, so use these two blocks as like a little bit of an extension. We'll also extend this stuff out, sort of like, again, guiding movements in that direction. Probably be a bit more free form than stuff inside the main temple complex, but the idea, anyway, the intent is to build this complex up into the left towards that upper left-hand corner so that we have that sense of, overarching construction and a feeling like there's some real shit going on. Like it is a natural continuation of it, even though it's obviously in a very different area visually, or geographically. So anyway, we'll be getting there. I'll leave you guys looking at this bit of eye candy for the time being, and I'll be RB. Hi Vik, bye Vik. And I'm back. First believable temple you ever saw. What do you mean, this little high-rise? Or the whole thing? I'm not sure if the whole thing is really there, but I think some parts look thematic. Like this little Templar statue at the over there. I really tried to make things and like keep things symmetrical in some way, but it's not completely symmetrical, which is fine. But you know, you have this like, oh, I forgot to put the north facing one over there, but you've got these pieces right here, to me, on the outskirts are like scaffolding, is what I imagine them to be. Not in terms of their role in the story or like the thematic or the in-universe thing. I just mean like on a functional sense for what it does to have these on the outskirts. I mean, it allows me to also have other things on the outskirts like these and to line them up well with this. So like they're all lined up here and spaced out relatively evenly. To me, that's really cool because you get the sense that it was constructed with some sort of deliberate nature, but you also get like a reinforcement mentally of like, oh yeah, that's for the like this is part of the temple and this is like on the outskirts of the temple or whatever, you know? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the fuck it would actually be used for, but as long as the construction feels somewhat naturally artificial, if that makes sense. It's like you look at it and you think, yeah, that was made by somebody, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like even if you don't know what it was for, as long as you can imagine that there was a reason behind it, that it looks functional, or that it has some sort of purpose, I feel like that works out. It's just definitely tricky to do. But I think that the symmetry or having things that like line up with each other and almost are like extensions of one of each other without being directly connected, which is what I did with like the pieces being lined up over here and stuff. I feel like that goes a long way for it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Glad you like it. So far, it's I think it'll definitely set this map apart from the previous maps because the second map had barely any temple. The first map had like a weird mix of like it was like halfway mix of temple and jungle and organic stuff. This one is like the temple is the dominant aspect of the whole thing, right? So it really will feel, in my opinion, like what it's meant to feel like, you know? So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Mm. So anyway, what's been going on, Veek? I was gonna ask you what your schedule was like these days. Maybe we can plan some time to be around for a long period of time. You mean like additional, like similar to these? I think we definitely would want to add those things, but that's for like that in my mind. I'm trying to save that for all the end stage polish stuff that we need to do. I want to make something that's that at least functions, and then worry about like selling some like adding more things that will help sell the theme and tell a visual story and all that. Because it's important, but we have a time constraint, so. Right. Structure in Badlands, the structure tiles have those like doodads that are like holes blown open by weapons fire or something. and like cracks and stuff like that. I feel like something like that would work really well for the temple tiles. The temple stuff in map 1. You just mean the centerpiece? Well, we need to make these custom tiles. Oh. You're talking about the fact that the ruins are like all over the place? I don't think that will be there for a long time. I think we'll probably standardize the ruins a little bit and then figure out what else we're doing. Now, I think I made a... Yeah, here we go. Oh. Well, I hope you feel better soon. And yeah, I imagine they definitely don't want people who are at all sick anywhere. Yeah, you certainly allowed me to improve my understanding of the preprocessor and the functionality that it has by basically being able to look at the functions that you put together. I was able to reverse engineer some of the logic behind it and stuff, so it was helpful for me because it was another way for me to learn about the preprocessor, and it's helpful more objectively because it gets us closer to having a functional set of functions. Yeah, I know. The whole like people are basically worrying because they're legally required to worry, I think. There's some hysteria, but and it's justified to be cautious or whatever, but are you able to do remote lessons as long as you're in this weird I don't know if you would even call it a quarantine, but whatever it is. What's going to happen in 2 months? You mean like at the end of Full Toilet? I'll set aside some time to live stream all of the campaigns that are submitted. I don't expect that there will be too many, but I'll play whatever's out there. And in the same order as they were submitted in terms of like when they were turned in, um, will be the order that I play them in. And then beyond that, I don't know. Oh wow! So you're actually stuck on non-remote lessons for a while, despite the fact that you can't even get in there for most classes. Like you can't go to the classes, obviously, but like some of them are enabling it, or none at all right now. And I haven't worked on anything pathfinding related. I haven't even programmed anything in a long time, a couple days anyway. Since the last set of hooks that I did for Stasis Field. I think that was the last time I programmed anything. All right. Alright, looks like there was only a few errors. Submerged minerals? Well, we're just gonna have overlays for that sort of thing. I can let DF know that I want those overlays, but the thing is, even if we get the overlays, we need the image extender for in-game stuff. We can't have every unit creating an overlay when they walk through water and still have the default image limit of 500 or 1,000 or whatever it is. Whatever the sprite limit is by default. I think it's 500 for in-game. That definitely needs to be increased. So we need those in-game extenders as soon as possible. But we definitely need them in order to justify the work that would go into those things. So yeah, that should be easy to do. That's a pretty epic bug from Photoshop. Really got checkerboarded hard because of the palette limitations. I've not seen anybody mess around with custom minerals now. Mostly because of all the hard code associated with minerals themselves. The fuck? Somehow I managed to forget the same one on each side. I don't know how that, what was going on there in my head, but that was quite a blind spot. Cool. Not exactly within spitting distance for good old Eric. He's going to have to work for that if he wants to take that. But it's defensible enough, I think. What's up, sneaky larva? What a name, too. How are you? Alright. I'm gonna have to figure out how to shape this into something usable. I'm doing pretty well. Getting some pretty good work done on third map of Deliverance right now. Just about done with the first draft of its layout. I've been trying to power through as many of the drafts of each map as I can so that I can then focus on, like, renovating them and bringing them up to snuff on an individual basis. It's a different approach than I'm used to, but so far it's going pretty well. Isn't that just a damn shame? So you're just biding your time until the internet gods decide that it's over for you. All right. No worries. I stream every day, so sure, whenever your net goes back up, maybe I'll see you then. Hopefully it's not too long of an inconvenience for you, though. That's never fun, you know what I mean? All right, now we get to work our magic over here. I think this will work out. I'm not sure. Since it's 2 wide instead of 1. Okay. Maybe we do this. Is that epic? Okay. That's something. I wonder if I should flip the dynamic so that it's actually... Yeah, there's an idea, actually. Yeah, it's not a map like that where you just want to see 2 armies run into each other is not that difficult to make. It's just a matter of, like, you're not going to be able to precisely control the AI units, unfortunately, right? Because AI in this game is very intelligent. So that's probably the biggest limiting factor there. Right. I did this once before, but I don't actually remember what I did to do it. I don't have all the tiles set up anyway, but... Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I just need this bottom strip jungled, and then we're good to go, I think. Seems like I have everything else that I would need, otherwise. Although maybe I need... No, that looks fine too. So yeah, I think we're just in a position where... we need this bottom strip, and that's it. Yeah, that'll be good. It'll be cool to also link, like, the high dirt with ruins and stuff. I think that'll be neat. All sorts of custom tiles, man. Yeah, thanks. Things are coming along. A buddy of mine put together the ramps that we're seeing here. As you can see, they if you have any experience throwing together maps in the new version of the game, you may, or just playing the new version of the game, you may notice that the ramps there are terrible, qualitatively speaking. Thankfully, we have much higher quality ramps in the older version of the game. So... see where all that goes. Just seal this area up for now. And I'll paint the insides. All right, so geographically speaking, I feel like this is fine. It's definitely a interesting setup. I do need to figure out what I'm doing with these, though. Can you help me somehow? Well, you can go digging for that temple ramp that you made a jungle variant of. I still don't know where that is. We need that for the first map. So if you feel like digging around in our DMs for that, or in your folder, or just making it again, I don't know. Yeah, let me see. I'll probably only be on for another hour or so, but yeah, we can do that. Let me just turn my music off. Dude, Radio Fan is a real guy. Always nice to see his. He's thoroughly entertained by that Batman playthrough. All right. Let me unmute my speakers. Hi.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
Good.
The voice of Veek.
So, how's it going?
Pretty good so far. Managed to get some pretty good work done. And right now I'm just trying to build a temple area for Goran's base.
I'm actually late with the playthrough, so I can't really talk about it.
Oh yeah, how many videos in are you?
I'm 6, pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty dumb.
Epic.
Some moments.
Yeah.
They tried to be, but
dude, some of the entire game is really just a shit show. There's at least some parts of the playthrough where I lose my mind. Have you gotten to the part where I'm in the airship yet?
yeah.
Did
a fucking puzzle.
Did you see the part where there's like that guy who gets electrocuted and then they zoom in and do a million subtitles?
I saw that.
That made me so angry. I can't believe they're just like, after all that too, after all of that, they put a fucking tip on the screen. Like, just in case you weren't paying attention.
Wow.
This is how you do it. It's like, wowie. At that point, not only do you not respect the player, but you don't even respect your own, like your own
like
game.
They actually design it for the lowest difficulty or something, so the total casuals can catch up. But you're playing on the fucking highest, so
the highest available at start.
Yeah. So why? I didn't get it.
What do I think of your gas gimmick screenshot? It sounds like you're having a tough time telling the AI to actually get gas or mine gas. Why do you have to? Why isn't there just the ability to set gas workers exactly? Are you not using start campaign or anything? I mean, unstart campaign? I feel like that would help your AI actually mine. So if you're not using the Melee AI, then they probably won't mine gas very efficiently.
So I wasn't actually catching up with the latest stream votes, so I would want to ask how much you actually spend with the preprocessor?
I haven't really messed around with it. I've been focusing very heavily on the development of the missions.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't like made any modifications to it or anything like that.
Thankfully, I can watch what you're doing because you're streaming now. So
yeah. One thing that would be a pretty big help would be like actually being able to
do everything at the same time.
If you were able to like, yeah, for one that, but for another, it's like if you were able to actually put together the custom tiles that I need, but I know that's not 100% something like what's it called? I don't know if that's really your forte or not, but if you feel like trying to do that, I would be a very happy boy. Because I basically am in a position where, like, I could definitely do the tiles myself, but that would take a lot of attention away from the development of the maps. Because there's a lot that needs to be done. I know you already technically started doing it with the what's it called? With the
blend?
The jungle terrain thing, the ramp that I was asking you to look for. Yeah.
Actually, I have to find it because I don't have it in the folder with 3 colors, so it's probably lost somewhere.
Yeah, well, I think we were both very sleepy when you made it. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's just...
I probably had it on my desktop when I had all the mess, so probably have it in the stuff folder.
The most useful folder of all time.
Yeah. Oh, sample blend. So the problem is I can't actually run my Photoshop because I'm out of space on system disk, but should be it. Hopefully it's not something else.
How are you gonna fix that problem?
What happened?
I said, wait, what? This guy just joined the server to ask for the invite link?
What?
Okay.
Yeah, he probably thought that. Well.
No, because he's gonna give it to other people, but I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's a Discord noob, all right. Holy moly.
Is the reply functionality. I can speak today.
It's not functional. What do you mean? It's clearly very not functional.
This functionality.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe literally anything that comes out of Silicon Valley these days. Alright, I guess I'll finally seal up this stuff. Ruins look so monotonous by default, but I was talking earlier about how I'm gonna have like I'm gonna take the jungle parts of them and remove, like, basically where it's all grass in the center. I'm gonna have like variants of that has mud that I'll use probably for marking town hall placements and stuff, and also just for general decoration. And then obviously I have variants for dirt, and there will probably be variants with like broken variants or whatever that are unbuildable that we can use for like road painting or something. I think that will help.
I'm not really sure. We probably should break the pattern a little, like change how it like tiles with the like plates on the ground. Probably make some cracks and stuff, so it's not monotonous like you were saying.
Yeah, that's a pretty big issue. I wonder how he got here. Like, he surely he knows the Discord invite link is the same link that he used to join the server, right? I mean,
wow, I don't know.
Help? Hello? Who is responsible for this? I agree that it should be called something other than Unstart Campaign, but then I shouldn't have had to rename Ace to Knave is an idiot. So, what do you want me to say about that? Like this? Come on, man.
I never was sure why it's Unstart Campaign, but whatever.
Yeah, it's stupid, dude. I mean, you could do it stop campaign. I don't know. Like, why unstart? Unstart is not a word. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, probably.
The absolute triggering. Is that it? I've started marking areas where we need custom tiles on the maps with locations. I've only done it a little bit on the first map. It's a lot of it is on this map, but I figure that'll be. I don't actually label the locations, but I just draw them over tiles, so it should be fairly self-explanatory in that regard. So it'll be useful for whenever one of us is doing those tiles.
Yeah, that should be helpful.
Documenting my code, documenting my maps.
Kirby?
Okay, bye. Oh no. All right, let's end this suffering. Okay. Ta-da! Not quite done, but whatever. All right. So I like the idea of having these little bits and pieces, but unfortunately, if you ever try to make them too long, you will live to regret it. They just generally are not great options. That being said, one, two, three, four, five. Okay. Okay.
Have you checked the blind I sent you?
Oh, I actually somehow forgot to do that. Worstwa 3. Okay. Yeah, that was the one.
Good.
Why does it always ask me for stat txt? Why? Oh yeah, that's the other thing I was going to ask you about, is whether or not there was much progress made on the SFX data stuff for adding entries?
Well, I stopped at the adding. I mean, the adding is actually working right now, and I haven't worked on the other functionality, so...
Right.
Actually, I forgot about that, so... I just reminded myself today in the morning, so I'm planning to do something on that, like maybe tomorrow.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll be useful for like iQuery mostly needs it so that we can have less limited number.
I will probably be able to make functional like extenders for other formats, because when I add anything to SFX, I also add to others.
Right,
So
yeah.
the only thing is actually like doing the format stuff that is different, but should be
Yeah, and of course
possible.
the issue of getting it implemented in the game side, which is it's not as much of an issue for you, but iQuery may lose his mind if he has to redo the extenders for other things.
Not really. I can just generate the config file. Or I guess we would have to make another config file that would only have the rewrites, so we can actually open it together with the PyDat.
Right.
And not like overwrite the other settings that are not like handled by the program.
Oh, nice fucking commit message. What are you guys possibly working on that involves stuff?
Well, VOD sent me the made a repo for the map crop we didn't yet finish, so he's actually working on it right now, which
That's
is
pretty amazing.
I think 2 months late, maybe.
Well, it's probably going to be used for his campaign crap, but just
Yeah, maybe.
stuff. So many bugs associated with that fucking the brush palette, holy moly.
I said that come in the message, man.
I was hoping you'd find it at some point.
Riri?
No. Oh, this is gonna be easier than expected. Extension-wise. I thought for sure I was going to have to do something dumb. Alright, so we got our weird-ass ramp complex. Oh, wait, what a goofball. They weren't meant to be symmetrical. What a dummy. Oh well. I still don't have to do something dumb, so... pretty sure I win. Wow. Really dropping the ball here. It's always so many bits and pieces. That's why you basically, at some point, if you plan on doing fine-tuning using isometry, you have to like completely pave over everything and then paste it. Otherwise, it ends up like that anytime you're trying to do any fine-tuning. Nice.
Hi.
Hi. It's popping.
I was trying to make my Photoshop actually work, but I don't know if I did actually anything. No, still fact.
Epic. Well, I think I got somewhere. Took me way longer than it should have to finalize that area, but it's not really even final. I'll probably have some stacked temple adding some stuff to it. But we'll see. It'll probably take a few revisions before it's as epic as this area, but it's getting there. I was thinking that I could probably do. Something like that. I don't think I have Temple Cliff Temple, so time to go find that in my index. I'm probably gonna re-import these after I edit them, but I'll still create. Oh, good one. I'll make space for him anyway. All right. I almost want like a much bigger tile or something. Like a giant statue, but maybe not the best of ideas.
I'm not sure what that statue actually represents. It's really like not fitting right now.
This? It's a High Templar.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's not looking very serious, honestly. So.
Yeah, it looks pretty goofy, but when we have an epic selection for assets, you let me know. All right, so the reason why I did that was so I could do this. Hey, get back over there.
I wonder if we could actually experiment with the minimal mining distance. Maybe we could have like some special tier research that demands a longer distance or something. That's still
I was talking with Icor about this.
maybe.
I think it was 2 streams ago or something, but we'll probably just remove that in the new game, like in the new engine. I don't think it's It's just a gimmick, which is really stupid to me. Like the idea that you have a minimum distance. I don't like it at all. Because it only affects certain buildings, right? So either make it affect all buildings evenly, or remove it and balance it out on a per map basis. So then you have way more freedom for the actual. If you go the latter route, you remove it entirely, then you can make certain areas unbuildable near mineral fields, right? And only leave some buildability for missile turrets or whatever, if you want to have that. And in other cases, maybe you shape like cliffs or borders around the resources, and that results in a like a natural. You don't want to like build it too close to them, because then you can't really move units in large part like through there. So it actually becomes like a balancing factor. Like, do I want to make it so that the setup of my base is such that, like, I'll give you an example actually. So the meme base with all these minerals in the second map of Deliverance has this like closed off area. If you didn't have any limitation and you could build your nexus like wherever you wanted to, like over here, if you could just put it like right here, like then you block off the ability to actually path through this area. And so like obviously that's an extreme case because most bases don't look like this, but you'd have way more freedom for actually constructing resource areas such that you could make that a balancing factor that players can consider. Like, how much maneuverability do I want to instill, or do I want to leave potential for when I'm setting up my base? I think that's just how you would do it, broadly speaking. But I also think it's just goofy to have some sort of restriction. It's just that in order to fix it up such that it actually works for what we want, we need a lot more time to set it up properly if we want to have it be like, be balanced. So I don't know what you think of that, but
yeah, the toughest thing will be balancing, but you could in theory just like replace unbuildable terrain everywhere with.
Yeah, I think in many cases that will be the default option or whatever.
Yeah, could leave some 2x2 spots for missile turrets,
right?
And
Dude, check out my base. Well, that's something.
the more I think about it, the more I think that it makes no sense you would have like minimum distance. But I wonder if we could actually make distance mining meaningful in some circumstances, and how we would do that. I don't know.
I think it's possible. It's just a matter of like, I definitely think it's possible. I think, for example, like if you only have like maybe one race has a special structure that allows that like is a drop off point while being airborne. so you can like fly it around and have it be an opportunity to return resources. But
Like
when
a
we have
tier overlord, maybe.
yeah, something like that. That could be because we actually do need a final tier overlord. Even conceptually speaking, we don't have one. Like the Alazaleth is attainable when you are at tier 4. Like that's the tier 4 overlord. If the overlord is tier 1 and then it goes Iroleth, Othstaleth, Alazaleth, we need a tier 5. So we could have a tier 5 that's like, you know, has all of those benefits and can be returned to. That could be pretty epic, I think. So regardless of which race has that, I would make that like a very unique characteristic, I think. And otherwise, obviously it's super late game as well. Everything that you do is limited by ground. But if you have resources that are attainable only by way of the air, the advanced workers that are flyers, suddenly you have a situation where you can, justify distance mining because you can't build that close to something that's on an island or whatever. So, just in that situation alone, I think you technically do justify it.
I don't know. Making only one race have flying workers is
No. It's not flying workers is only one race. Every race, all of the advanced workers are flyers. Talking about flying resource
okay.
depot, drop off point. That's the thing that would be unique to one race, I think.
Right.
And I don't think it's that game changing. That it's not like it completely breaks the way that things work. It's super high tech, end stage, and
kind of makes you design the map differently for one race than the others, though.
Yeah, but I think it's like a
don't know if
meaningful
it's good.
distinction that reinforces some element of their thematics or whatever. Like you can make an argument for the thematics being reinforced for pretty much any race that decided to have that. If we end up exploring,
I think that we maybe could have a because Terran structure actually can lift off, then it can stay as that. Maybe Protoss structure could be a stationary flying one, and Zerg one could be a stationary moving one. That could also be another distinction, maybe.
yeah. Well, we could. So you're saying we could make it meaningfully distinct and still reinforce the thematics without it overlapping with the fact that like, oh, now every race gets this mechanic or whatever. So like, without it feeling a little too contrived. I can see an argument to be made for that. It's a ways off anyway, though, since that's definitely new engine tech. If we want AI to be able to use it anyway.
Right.
There's still no definitive word about advanced workers or flying like multiple workers per race or whatever being usable. As far as I know, Icor's had issues even with different worker IDs. I think he may have resolved those, but fortunately, it's not looking perfect just yet. So. He found some insane unit ID hardcode that checks if a transport's unit ID is lurker or something. He was telling me about it earlier, yesterday, I think. That's some insanity.
I wonder what that was. Like,
yeah, why? You mean like, why it was? I don't know. Fucking Blizzard.
Probably some insane unit interaction that could be happening with their implementation. So maybe, I don't know, Lurker would attack or something, I don't know.
And well, the thing is, like, he knows it wasn't a compiler thing. I forget how he knew. I think it was because it was like deliberately inlined in multiple functions or something. So it was actually lard. It wasn't fucking compiler or IDA being weird. Because he was in the assembly looking at it, so it's pretty epic. Love to see lard.
Well, the thing with the compiler is that it will never change the logic of the program. So could be that doing something weird, but
yeah, he was in the assembly dump. He wasn't in the IDA at all.
Right.
So it's just lard, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
And obviously it's Lurker.
Of all the fucking things to have insane hard code, the lurker might be up there with like Reaver and Carrier. Some real intense lard code there. Hmm. Ah. If people weren't paying attention to the fucking chat, they might think that I'm actually losing my mind, but I promise you that was in response to something. I'm pretty sure.
If you want, I can do some blends, but I would need screenshots.
Well, there's all the high dirt edge blends on the first map, and I think I locationed one blend on the first map as well. Do you know if mischance is removed from cover, by the way? Like if you're underneath a sprite?
I'm not sure.
Reasonable. This is gonna be a pretty banging map, dude. You.
My Starcraft dump is not working for some reason.
Your Starcraft what?
Dump the data file. That's weird.
Yeah, that doesn't bode very well.
Okay, worked now.
Nice.
So what's the miss chance in cover? Is it like
It's the same
higher?
thing as the default mischance.
If it was the same, then why would it matter if Ionid was in cover?
Because the unit could be in cover but not have a height advantage.
Okay.
You know what else we need blend-wise that you might be able to do relatively easily? Is we just need to transfer the same ramps that we have for dirt and jungle. We need to transfer those to high dirt. I can send you the PSDs that I have for the jungle transitions that might be useful for making that work. But I haven't actually looked at what the process would look like, so... Now that's a natural. You want something that's like less... I was thinking you could actually make it so that the mineral field frames of like going from lowest to low to medium to high to highest or whatever. You could just like make it look like they're increased, but I guess that would look weird for depending on what they actually are. And there's the PSD files. If you wanted to take a crack at giving them the higher dirt tile.
And obviously Discord won't let me download them like in a sensible manner. But thank you anyways.
I'll send you a canvas file for high dirt as well in a sec here. So you just slap that underneath all of them. I don't know if it'll fit every single one, but... Oh yeah, here's what iQuare was able to do with the red mineral thing that I was working on earlier. They're not quite the same hue, but I can probably update that later on. This map looks pretty sizable.
If you would want me, I could also try to like do some color corrections or something to those.
Hold on. I don't have a PSD file for them, so good luck. Well, I think that'll do it for the stream for now. But if you're still around for a little bit, Vig, I can, I'll be taking a walk, so I can just hop on call during that if you're interested.
Okay.
But, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks, Vig, for your help. Thanks, iQuare, for being uQuare. And, I'll see you guys... Well, oh, shit. That's not what I meant to do. I'll see you guys later today with a fucking Batman video, because that's my life now. And tomorrow for another mod stream. So, bye.
Bye.